Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Balava Girivanadari. Gopi Jana Balava Girivanadari. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamunatiha Vanacharya. Yamunatiha Vanacharya. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Balava Girivanadari. Gopi Jana Balava Girivanadari. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamunatiha Vanacharya. Yamunatiha Vanacharya. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupad Brahmhangsa Brahmadakacharya Asadhara Satushi Shiman. His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Raj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Haribo Slava Zabrani Bhakta Slava Shri Guru Shri Garangi. Om Agyanatamanandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chaksur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stavitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prajana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakan Zvitamscha. Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabando Digapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishubhanu Siddhadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakapa Trivyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Canto 1, Chapter 5, Text number 1. Narada's instructions on Srimad Bhagavatam for Vyasadeva. Suto Vacha Atatam Sukam Asina Upasina Brihatstrava Devarshi Praha Viprarshim Vinapani Smayaniva Sudavacha Atatam Sukam Asina Upasinam Brihatchuva Devarshi Prahar Viprarshim Vinapani Smaryaniva Sudavacha Atatam Sukam Asina Upasina Brihatshava Devarshi Praha Viparshim Vinapani Smayaniva Acha Tatam Sukam Asina Asina Brihatshava Yudarshi Praha Viparashim Vinapani Smaryaniva. Ladies, Sudavacha Atatam Sukamasina Upasina Brihatstriva Devarshi Praha Viparashim Vinapani Smaryaniva. Sutta Uvacha said, Ata therefore, Tam him, Sukam Asina comfortably seated, Upasinam unto one sitting nearby, Brihat Shrava greatly respected, Devarshi the great Rishi among the gods, Praha said, Viprarshim unto the Rishi among the Brahmanas, Vina Pani one who carries a vina in his hand, Smayaniva apparently smiling. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Sutta Goswami said, thus the sage among the gods, Narada, comfortably seated and apparently smiling, addressed the Rishi among the Brahmanas, Vyasadeva. Purport. Narada was smiling because he knew well the great sage Vyasadeva and the cause of his disappointment, as he will explain gradually. Vyasadeva's disappointment was due to insufficiency presenting the science of devotional service. Narada knew the defect, and it was confirmed by the position of Vyasa. I'll read some more verses. Addressing Vyasadeva, the son of Parashara, Narada inquired, "Are you satisfied by identifying with the body or the mind as objects of self-realization?" Purport: this was a hint by Narada to Vyasadeva regarding the cause of his despondency. Vyasadeva, as a descendant of Parasara, a greatly powerful sage, had the privilege of having a great parentage which should not have given Vyasadeva cause for despondency. Being a great son of a great father, he should not have identified the self with the body or the mind. Ordinary men with poor fund of knowledge can identify the body as self or the mind as self, but Vyasadeva should not have done so. One cannot be cheerful by nature unless one is factually situated self-realization, which is transcendental to the material body and mind. Om Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vicharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskyadyade Siddharne. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma Nishoshiti Nakangshiti Samak Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. That one can become Prasanatma, the beginning stage of happiness or joyfulness, when one is free from hankering and lamentation and can see all living beings as eternal spiritual beings, just like oneself is. Otherwise, then there'll be confusion. As long as one is covered, as it says, Evamana karma prasamyin vinyukte avidyaman upadiyamane pritirna yavan maivasideve namuchante deha yogena tadvat. Prahlad Maharaj said, as long as one is not self-realized, as long as one is identifying oneself with the body and the mind, so with these upadis, that is his misidentifications, pritirna yavan maya vasudeve evam mana karma prasamyam prayukte. This is due to our acting in ignorance. In other words, yayato visham punsam sangasteshu pajayate Sangha sanjayate kama, kama krodo bhajayate. Krodad bhavati samoha, somaha smriti vibram sat, smriti bram sat buddhinashat, buddhinashat pranashati. There's a chain that leads one to perform materialistic activities. And that chain can be cut off at any stage by knowledge. In other words, the beginning, as Krishna says, is just not engaging in Krishna service. Krishna service means not even bothering to meditate on Brahman, what to speak of taking direction from the super soul, or engage in devotional service. Just not engage in any kind of spiritual activity. Then one will naturally not feel either peace nor happiness or anything positive. So one will naturally look around for something to make one happy. And the material world is set up in such a way that there are so many people, so many things promising us a happiness, but they never deliver the happiness that we're looking for. There may be some happiness, as Govinda Das prays. There may be one drop in the desert of happiness, but it's insufficient to satisfy the hankering of the self. In any case, when there is no happiness found by spiritual life, we must seek out happiness in material life and look out for something that we think or is advertised or we believe will cause us, give us happiness. And therefore, in order to inspire us to to gratify our senses, because that's what basically it means, material happiness, either gross or subtle, lust is there. And as soon as there's lust, there must be, if lust is not checked, if one fulfills lust, the desires, then greed will arise. And as greed arises, so will frustration. Because no amount of greed will not cause, excessive greed will eventually bring about frustration. And these combine together to cover the soul and therefore produce our illusions. We don't see things properly because we're seeing through a veil of illusory energy. And that illusory energy takes away our remembrance. And that remembrance, when it's absent, therefore intelligence is lost because we have nothing to refer to. And therefore one will be forced to perform some kind of materialistic activity, which will further cause one to look for the objects of the senses, and then material nature will provide lust, anger, greed, and further put us into illusion, into the downward spiral. Or as it said another way in the Nectar of Devotion, that everything is based, the material world is based upon ignorance. Not only we don't know who we are, but the material nature provides us with the identity that's called asmita, a false ego, which we misidentify ourselves with this gross and subtle body. And from there, when we acquire a false ego, therefore automatically lust arises along with anger, attachment and aversion. And from that, as we fulfill our lusty desires and our frustrations, we're put into further and further illusion, abhiniveshita, by which we become convinced I'm going to die and disappear or whatever. We become fearful of so many things, especially our impending disappearance or demise. So this is the nature of the material existence, and there is no solution other than to try to make progress towards spiritual realization, which means, Krishna says, Trividam narakasyedam dwaram nashitam atmanaha kama krodha tata lobhas tasmat etam trayam chajet. There are three gates leading to hell: lust, anger, and greed. Every sane man should give these up because they lead to the degradation of the self. Therefore, we have four regular principles we're supposed to follow. They're all concerned with lust, anger, and greed. But there's also illusion, forgetfulness, and loss of intelligence. So in order to conquer lust, anger, and greed, everyone has to follow the process of hearing intelligently how to do it. In other words, we ourselves cannot conquer lust, anger, and greed unless we surrender to Krishna and follow his instructions by some system, whether it be Varnashram or Jnana Yoga or Astanga Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. One has to follow Krishna's directions if he wants to gradually get free from lust, anger, and greed. And if we get free from lust, anger, and greed, then gradually our illusion will dissipate, and we'll gain our memory again, and we'll get transcendental intelligence to see things as they are, including ourselves, and eventually everyone and everyone else in relationship to reality. We'll regain our spiritual intelligence, our normal way of seeing things. Now, modern society, they have no idea. Nite vidu swarta gatim hi Vishnu darashya bahir artamanina. They have no idea that the goal of life is to reach Krishna in some way, by Brahman or Paramatma or Bhagavan. They have no idea. Matirna Krishna parataksutova mito bipadyeta griha ratanam adanta gobira vishitam tamuzram punak punas charvata charvanaram. No. Everyone feels there's some problem. Otherwise, why two people, like in America, or maybe more than two people, why are they campaigning for election, promising that they can solve problems? If there were no problems, then why would anyone go and vote for anyone? Who could care less if we didn't? But everyone's feeling problems, mostly because of ignorance. People are thinking our problems are economic development and maybe scarcity of economic development, which will lead to a scarcity of sense gratification. So both parties are all the parties are campaigning. If you elect me, there won't be any economic scarcity, and you'll have unlimited sense gratification, all you want. But it doesn't work, because these politicians are not creating the economic development. They're not telling Mother Earth, produce grains. Or they're not telling Indra, provide the rain. Indra could care less whatever they said. Mother Earth couldn't care less whatever they order. Just like a vulture is flying overhead, sees a cow, and telling the cow to die so he can eat it. The cow could care less what the vulture is demanding. So similarly, people in the material concept of life, they can't help anyone. Andaya tandira pigimanas te pisha tantra urudami vara. They don't know, they think that the problem is they don't have enough sense gratification. Although even if they get unlimited sense gratification, it's simply they wind up chewing the chewed. And they don't know that the goal of life is to reach Krishna, and therefore they're interested in so many temporary, insignificant other things. Because they're blind. And therefore those who follow such blind leaders, they're also blind. So they're not going to get liberation. They're not going to get mogaisha, yakshastra vidim usrida, vartate kama karata, tasasidim avapnoti nasukam naparam gatim. So those who give up Shastra and act whimsically will obtain neither peace, nor happiness, nor the supreme destination. They're not going to obtain either Brahman realization or Paramatma realization, but to speak of Bhagavan realization. They're just going to be struggling in the material energy, trying to find some solution to the problem of having to die and take birth again in different species of life. But they're in ignorance, therefore they don't know who they are. They don't know what the goal of life is. Therefore, Srila Vyasadeva gives us an example so that we can understand what the real problems are. Now, even if one is understanding it with Brahman, that would solve 99.9% of people's quarrels. Because people think, my interest is this body. And unless I work diligently to serve the interests of my body or things in relationship to my body, then I won't get what I need or what I want. They think that they themselves are the creators of the material nature. They don't realize the abundance is unlimited. Krishna, he creates unlimited universes and dissolves them just by his breathing. So what is the problem for Krishna to provide whatever we need? For everyone, immediately. But because they don't know who's the creator, who's the provider, they don't know about Krishna, they don't even know that they're spiritual, and that their real need is spiritual. And if they actually want to create a peaceful atmosphere based on spiritual values, Krishna will give the intelligence how to do it. They're all looking for the same thing. Everyone's looking for the same thing. They're looking for peace and happiness and knowledge of how to obtain peace and happiness in some way or another, whoever they are, whether it's a man or a woman, or a conservative, or a liberal, everyone is looking for peace and happiness, that's all. They just have different ways of obtaining it. They don't realize that the way of obtaining it for everyone is the same. If they take shelter of Krishna, then Krishna will give you intelligence how everyone can obtain peace and happiness, no extra cost. And without understanding that the mutual interest that everyone has, without understanding ultimately who's the benefactor of everyone, who's the well-wisher and benefactor, who's the controller, then they'll just fight uselessly without taking shelter of Krishna, asking Krishna, what does he want? And if both sides ask Krishna what he wants, then Krishna can give the intelligence to satisfy all sides. But if one doesn't ask Krishna, then one is simply wasting his time trying to find peace and happiness in their limited vision of what that will entail. Prabhupada gives the example that in World War I and World War II also, that the Germans and the French and the British, they're killing each other. So the ladies are going to the church or to the temple or the mosque or whatever, and they're praying, my dear Lord, please bring back my husband, please bring back my father, please bring back my son, my brother from the war. But they're killing each other, they're all dying. So both sides, the French, the English, the Germans, anyone else who's fighting, the women, they say, well, we pray to God and he didn't listen. So there is no God. It's useless praying to God. Because they didn't ask God if he wanted the war in the first place. And they're blaming him because of their sinful activities and the reactions to it. They're blaming him and expecting him to fulfill all their desires, in spite of what they deserve. It's like you killed 15 people, you're a mass murderer, and you go before the judge, and you pray to the judge, my dear judge, please forgive all my sins. That's not the job of the judge. He's supposed to look at your sins and see, what reward you're going to get from it. Or you can't just pray to the judge and say, oh, you prayed so nicely, I forgive everything. You can go home. It's not going to happen. That's not the judge's duty. So as long as one is in material existence, unmindful of Krishna and his laws, unmindful of Krishna's desires, unmindful of Krishna, then it doesn't matter how much you pray to God. If you're not willing to follow his instructions, then why will he fulfill your desire for peace and happiness? It's not possible. My dear God, give me everything I want, and I'm going to go on with my sinful life. Why would Krishna do that? What do you deserve to get what you want? What have you done? What is your merit? No pious activities, all sinful activities, and you want the whole universe for yourself. It doesn't work that way. The laws of material nature are not like that. So one should at least understand we're a spirit, that's our interest. And as a further understanding of that, therefore we actually want peace and harmony amongst all living entities. And in order to do that, we have to follow Krishna's instructions. So we ask Krishna, on that basis, what do you want us to do? Then Krishna will give us some intelligence how to go forward at least. But if we're trying to find peace and people are not interested in finding it out Krishna's way, then they're just wasting their time. Shrama eva hi kevalam. There is no formula for peace and happiness outside of Krishna consciousness. Krishna will not give us peace and happiness, nor intelligence how to find it if we want something else. If someone is going 100 kilometers west, he's not going to wind up very quickly in any place on the east. If we're going in the wrong direction, they're always striving the wrong direction. Krishna says. This is due to ignorance. Prakasham cha pravitim cha moham eva cha pandava idveshti sampravita nini nivritani kangshiti udasinad varasino gunaya vichalyate. Anyhow, that's a different verse. The Prakasham cha pravitim cha moham eva cha pandava idveshti sampravita nini nivritani kangshiti. That's also not the right word. Pravitim cha nivritim cha karya karya vayabhaye Banda moksha chayaveti buddhisapartha tamasi. They think what's to be done is not to be done. And they think what's not to be done, that's what they base their whole existence on. And therefore they always strive in the wrong direction. So our business is to give some people knowledge who want it. Narada Muni didn't appear in a bar to tell people about self-realization. He saw a drunk walking down the street and decided to give him some spiritual knowledge. No, he went to the person who was interested in it, who was receptive to it. As Jesus Christ said, why should you throw your pearls to swine? What's the value of that? So we have the most valuable thing, we're simply looking for customers. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very merciful. He's giving it away at a very inexpensive price, simply by the desire to get it. Unfortunately, we may not find so many customers, but whatever customers we find, that's our mission, is to act as an instrument to deliver Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy to them. It's not our mercy. As Prabhupada said, we're simply the post carrier, the postman. He's delivering a letter. He didn't write the letter, but his job is to deliver it on behalf of the person who wrote the letter. So it's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who's willing to give mercy to all living entities in Kali Yuga, but we should not consider ourselves the ones who are the merciful givers. We're the merciful givers, but it's not our mercy. It's the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's this knowledge. And we have to find people that the letter is addressed to. Not just throw the letters out in the street and hope someone picks it up. Then our mission will be completed. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions or comments? Yes.
I have two questions, Hare Krishna. First would be, when we are doing devotional service, it is challenged to not doing service in passion. So I'm just thinking, what is difference between when we are in stress? Is that passion because we have vision how we like to do that service, and if it's not like we are arranged, we become a little disappointed, angry, in stress? Or what is difference between that kind of stress in passion and transcendental, let's say, anxiety and stress? What is little, how to?
Well, we have to have knowledge. In other words, if we see that apparently right now I'm being influenced by the modes of material nature, then we have to think about Krishna. Not that I think I'm influenced by the material modes of nature, therefore I give up, I surrender to material energy. No, we have to think about Krishna and pray to Him to help us. Then even if the stress is there, if Krishna is there also, then we'll be blissful. So the difference is material stress is just material stress without Krishna. Spiritual stress is stress with Krishna. Mother Jasoda is in stress, but she's fully conscious of Krishna. Therefore, it's spiritual stress. Is that right?
I mean, is it good to be disappointed if our service is not like we thinking should be? Yeah.
Who are we to judge what we think it should be? In other words, we're not in the spiritual world. We're not one of the manjaris or the gopis serving Krishna. We're just trying to control our senses and mind and think about Krishna. So we should know what proper devotional service is. we do it with care and attention to please Krishna, and therefore we're thinking of Krishna, we're meditating on Him. That's proper devotional service. So we try the best we can, and we think about Krishna, then that's perfect. What is our, Krishna is being served by unlimited gopis, prasadam in the spiritual world. What is our, as Prabhupada said, what is our halava with fruit in it? Does Krishna need it? No, but if we try to please Krishna with it, it's our attitude that pleases Krishna.
Another question will be, you mentioned that that it is not proper to think that we are giving mercy to somebody because it is not our mercy. So when somebody asks us to give blessing, how to have a good attitude about that? Yeah. Because it is not our blessing, actually. Yeah.
Well, you say, well, we're not this body, we're not doing anything. So why should we think when we give blessings, we're doing it? We can agree to give blessings, and if we give blessings, we say, if Krishna says, yes, give them blessings, so you say, blessings. Then it's up to Krishna what kind of blessings we're going to give them. I mean, generally speaking, when the people ask Prabhupada, can you give me blessings? Then Prabhupada said, what kind of blessings do you want? I mean, that should be our first questions. Prabhupada was on a train. Some Indian gentleman wanted to come and see him. Prabhupada was in one compartment with his disciples, and there were some Indian gentlemen, they wanted to come into the train to give Prabhupada's darshan, his blessings. So his disciples tried to keep them out of the train because usually they weren't serious about spiritual blessings. But anyhow, they caught Prabhupada's attention. Prabhupada allowed them to come into his car. So the men said, we don't want to take your time, Swamiji, but we just want your blessings. So Prabhupada said, what kind of blessings do you want? So the man said, well, my daughter's not married, I need some money to get her married, maybe you can, some blessings. Another person said, well, I have this wart on my foot, it won't go away, I need your blessings. So then Prabhupada pointed out the saffron that his sannyas devotees were wearing, and said, this is my blessings. So the men put their hands together, Swami, you look very tired, I think we'll come back later for your blessings, and then they disappeared. So we should ask people, what kind of blessings do you want? And then you can say, well, this is my blessings, and they'll probably disappear. They probably don't want our blessings. Anything else? Khala, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande.